So I've been thinking recently, and this thought develops over time. I mean, as I mentioned, I have two political friends. That's four. Two political friends. Whole two that I talk to at school. But one of them is in most of my classes, so I'll speak to him the most. I sit next to him the most. He was in my friendship group before sixth form, etc. So I'll talk to him about which is better, communism, capitalism? How would you implement both? I mean, yes, capitalist society already, but you know what I mean. How would you go hardcore on either side of the extreme radical side of things? But one thing I thought was a good idea, regardless of if you're in a communist or a capitalist society, are allotments. More so than allotments, vegetable patches in gardens. Now, hear me out. Everybody will try and live in a house. If not, they'll live in a flat. I think flats are typically better at doing this because people kind of realise that they should actually probably try and be self-sufficient. Or also in saying that a flat in how would you go about it? Flat in London's going to cost more than a flat would say in I don't know, Maidstone, Tunbridge Wells, etc. So probably less affluent people are going to live in flats or housing blocks, we'll call them. People will live in housing blocks if they're a little bit poorer. But where was I? Lost my train of thought. That's it. Yes, so people in flats slash housing blocks, they're going to plant vegetables in their allocated little area at the bottom of the flat because they realise that self-sufficiency is actually kind of important, because if you don't have extra food, you're going to starve on the low income that they're in. However, people in houses don't quite often realise this. They have enough money to get by on just going to the supermarket, and so they do this, and then they'll have a garden for recreation, letting their children play, putting a slide or a trampoline in, which is all fine because you've bought that house and it's up to you what you do with it. But I think it's vital that we must have vegetable patches in gardens. Now, hear me out. Agriculture is obviously on the decline in Britain. Self-sufficiency is I think it's an alien word to the British public now, or especially the government. And without this extra food from vegetable patches, we are relying on imports. And imports of food cost money. They damage the environment by carbon footprint, etc. It's I don't know. It's not sustainable. It's too globalized, and the British public aren't well, I don't want to say doing their bit, for nations and all. It's not World War II anymore, but it's a good idea. I mean, you have fundamental good ideas that are just good ideas on their own, and then you have fundamental good ideas that you have to have, necessity. This isn't a necessity anymore, but I think it's a fundamentally good idea. If, say, prime example, actually, I want to give, is my next door neighbour. My next door neighbour has about 4 acres of grass around his house. He's He's got 2 children and a wife and a dog. 2 children, a wife and a dog. 4 acres of grass. Now that 4 acres of grass is not used for anything. The gentleman on Sundays will go out, unless it's winter, on his little tractor mower, and he will drive around, mow the grass, and that's it. That's all he uses his grass for. But why? Why? What's the point in buying a house and then having all this 4 acres of bloody grass and doing jack shit with it? There's just no need. It'd be much better if you could plant vegetables, carrots, potatoes, anything that grows, that is able to grow in an English climate. And why is it good? It's well, I'll put it this way: if you're rich enough, / affluent, / well off enough to be able to just sustain yourself from supermarket produce, that's fine. But if you home grow your stuff, it's going to be organic. And organic stuff sells for a ridiculously high rate. So there you go. You have a business incentive. Grow your vegetables and you can sell them, and then you'll get money off that and have more money to go buy those supermarket goods that you thrive off. If not, you could be charitable and grow your vegetables and give them to the local homeless shelter, or people or families in your local area you know aren't as well off as you. Um, and if you are sort of just about thriving off of supermarket foods, think to yourself, you know what? If I grew some stuff all year round, I might actually be able to, have a bit more money in the bank rather than going to the supermarket all the time. Even if as there's cheap stuff is cheap. Or if people that really annoy me are people who know that they have all this grass, because the person next door to me, they have all this grass, but they don't grow anything on it. No flowers or orchard trees or anything like that. So you can. I don't see where his head is in not using his land, to be honest. But that's not the point. The point is, I dislike people more who know that they have all this land, all this good fertile soil, could be used for growing vegetables and other such foods for either themselves or monetary gain or someone else out of charity. But they don't. They grow flowers. They grow flowers on it. What's the point in having so much land and then growing flowers? Because it looks pretty. How does that help anyone? At the end of the day, I think flower people are just selfish. I mean, this has been rather a weird rant about flowers and vegetables, but point is, I think we should grow vegetables on any piece of land that people have in their back garden, because it's either profitable, so that's an incentive, it's charitable, another incentive, and it's self-sufficient if you know what you're doing. So there we go. We should all have vegetable patches.